Lucky Boys Podcast.
So you said that other news outlets have reached out to you, like Rolling Stone, like major news outlets?
Yeah, so just recently when running for public office, people from Vice News wanted to reach out, Rolling Stone magazine, New York Times magazine, New York Nico, documenting my race and stuff like that.
But have they gone into the story that you just shared with us? Like that's what they want to know?
Not yet. They just started documenting my thing, but they want to go into it.
That's in their radar, so they know who you are and what you did.
Right. And they're also following Edwin Raymond with his city council race. They're following Paperboy, whatever, and stuff like that. So they're following a lot of people on the races and stuff. They're following all the general election candidates. Right?
So they want to blow this wide open? Like, I mean, because if they put it out there...
No, Neo Nico, I don't think that's their main concern. I think their main concern is...
Is it just the election?
Just the election.
Because if Vice and Rolling Stone puts this out there, then holy shit.
Yeah.
Like this is...
Vice wants to put out the corruption part.
They do?
Yes. I had also another person reach out. I think who was he writing for?
Did you have any filmmakers reach out to you? Want to make a movie about your life?
I did, but according to the advice of my lawyer and stuff, they're saying that I should wait until my case is over.
Oh, it's still going on?
Yes, it's still going. It's in here, Queens Supreme Civil Court or whatever, and we still got the case. But it's at a good stage right now where we're about to ask for the evidence and stuff, like. Okay. So we could start deposing the chiefs and commissioners and stuff that are involved in it, start deposing them, and then getting all the files from Internal Affairs Network.
So during this whole time, where are the good cops? Like, because I know that there's some cops that, and you said like there's 11 or 12 of them that are currently fighting back right now,
right? Including
yourself. But where are the rest? I gotta believe there's more than 11 or 12 good guys out there.
There's about maybe I say 90% of the cops are good. Right?
Yeah, I mean, most of the cops I meet,
more than that.
Yeah, most of the cops I meet, they're really good peoples, man.
Yes,
they're really good people.
Majority of it, it's just that 1% that controls it that ruin it for everybody, right? And you have to understand, it's like 40 something thousand cops altogether, right? So you have like maybe like 100 or 200 people out of 40,000.
Are the 90% standing up to those 10? Or no. I don't know the percentage.
No.
I don't know.
I think he's asking what is the percentage that are fighting corruption directly.
Right. So, and then NYPD works different. It's very discreet. You don't see it. All right.
So you're saying a lot of them just don't know?
A lot of them don't know. A lot of them know.
But they have to know, like rumors. People talk, Steve.
Yeah, right, exactly. So a lot of people, like some of the cops, they're like, "Oh, stay away from this guy. He's gonna get you in trouble. Stay away from this cop. He might get you in trouble." He's like, they know something is going on.
They don't know.
They don't know.
But they don't. Yeah, they don't bother to investigate it because they want to mind their own business. They don't want to get involved in it. But once they get involved in it, now they're gonna be called rat. They're gonna be transferred out. They're going to be retaliated against like they retaliate against me, right? And so when they do that to me, they're showing people, the good cops, this is what happens when you fucking snitch.
You're the example of a snitch, like that, to other cops.
Exactly. This is what happens.
But you're still a cop, which is crazy.
Yeah, but this is what happens when you snitch. I don't want to be a cop no more, but I have no choice, bro. I got bills to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't... I've been a cop for 15 years. 15 and a half years now, right? All I have to do is what? Like, technically, I have to do 4.5 years more and I can retire. So I'm going to dole away my 15 and a half years because of, of this, whatever.
Right.
I want to retire, yeah, of course, but I need something to...
You need an income.
I need bread and butter on the table. You know what I mean? Like, I have a pregnant wife. You know what I mean? I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I have a 17-year-old daughter, so
God,
I'm supporting my parents. They're retired. I'm supporting them too. So it's like, I gotta
you got responsibilities.
Right. I can't just retire. You know what I mean?
And this is crazy.
Right. So
this goes against everything that we were raised to believe.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's a dark world.
You're fighting a fight that not a lot of people would risk doing, right?
Doing the right thing and fighting this fight. You realize that it's a very lonely path, right? One, if you're going to do it, you better do it because you believe in it. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard on you, and you're going to quit halfway through. And once you quit halfway through, that's when they swoop in and take you out, right? So now, yeah, it's a great fight. The reason why I put in the lawsuit is to protect myself now, right? Because now is in the courts and stuff like that. It's in the Supreme Court, not a city court. It's in the Supreme Court, right? And it's a state court, right? And so it's some kind of blanket of protection, right?
So this case is in the Supreme Court.
Yeah. So when this is there, right? The NYPD started backing off a little bit, right? And they started trying to like DL mess with me, like try to destroy my character little by little, right? But every time they try, I'm like, no, I'm fighting that. So they see that I'm a fighter now, right? And so they try to be discreet about it.
You're
so
not the quiet Asian
right?
that they thought
exactly.
you were.
So they changed my tour around. Like one day I'm working midnights, one day I'm working day tour. That's why it's so hard for us to schedule this podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, I showed you the email. I was assigned to midnight. The chief that was originally asking for me to be watch is retiring, right? And then so my lieutenant was like, I'm tired of watching you. I'm about to retire too. I don't want no static. So here you go, go back to midnights and be left alone. And then the other chief goes, nope, put him back on day tour. He needs to be watched. And he's like, that's why he said tour changed again.
So what do they mean by you need to be watched?
I don't know.
I don't understand that.
I don't know. No, they technically didn't say anything, but what it means, what it implies is watch him. If he fucks up, get him. Wait for him to slip up. Any little slip up, get him. Right?
Discredit your character.
Right, exactly. So then you can build up a case and be like,
are you worried that like someone might shoot you? You know what I mean? Like what happened with Frank Serpico? He got shot in the face, right?
I really
like he felt like something was coming down the pipeline, and then I think one of his own shot him. Is that correct?
Yeah. I worry about it. I think about it sometimes, but I'm at a point in my life where it's like I'm not scared to die. You know what I mean? I'm not scared of death. It's whatever. How did you even? And if they kill me now, they'll make me a martyr. Mm-hmm. So it'll help the cause even more. The only thing that I'm worried about is my daughter and my wife and my future son and my family. You know what I mean? Like, are they going to be okay and stuff like that? So I decided, you know what? I'm going to take this matter into my own hands. I'm going to fight the good fight, and I'm going to run for public office because everything is controlled by politics. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to run for state assembly because the state is a higher agency than the city. And you need a higher agency to oversee it because there's always corruption, right? But thing is, if the city is corrupt and the state is corrupt and the federal government is corrupt, you have to admit that there's some form of corruption in these agencies, right? Mm-hmm. The federal is not going to care about the city or the state's corruption. They're going to go in and enforce it on them because it makes them look like they're the good guys, right? But in the background, they're still doing the federal corruption, right? But thing is, this city corruption thing, it doesn't mess with their bread and butter, right? So, because they're doing corruption on a bigger scale, right? So the little city agency is not going to stop them from doing their thing.
What's the motivation here? Is it all just
money? Money and power. Money and power and control.
And that's worth killing like everybody and making life miserable.
Yeah, that's money. That's why they say money is the root of all evil, or the greed of money is the root of all evil, right? So now, if I create a state agency, they're saying, "Oh, okay, but who's going to watch the state agency?" Look, right now I'm worried about the city agency being watched, right? And for what's feasible within my circle of power right now is to run for a state assembly and create a state agency, a watchdog to watch over all city agencies. Because it's not just the NYPD that's corrupt. It's the correction system. They're corrupt. You got the Department of Investigations, the Inspector General, that is supposed to be like outside agency that watches all city agencies. Mm-hmm. That's corrupt because it's still a city agency. It's still under the mayor. So I found out that was corrupt when they tried to investigate the mayor and his wife. and the mayor fired that inspector general.
Oh, yeah.
Then a new inspector general came in, and then like a couple months later, they tried to open up the case, and that one got fired.
Wow.
Right, and third one now is in place, and there's no investigation now. Right, the third one learned the lesson. Then I reported my case to them, and they said, "Oh, yeah, we can't look into this." Or nothing came out of it. They gave me a log number and all that stuff. They interviewed me. The lady was like ecstatic about it, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this, blah, blah, blah. How dare they, blah, blah." Right? But it didn't go anywhere because I asked them what's going on with the case. Like, "Oh, yeah, we got shut down."
Wow.
Because the mayor doesn't want to look bad.
You feel like this is the best way to fight corruption is by running for office and getting elected into a position of power where you have influence.
Yes,
where
absolutely.
because you had your boots to the ground.
Yes.
And you know, and currently that's where you are, and you know where the corruption lies, and you wanna fight against all.
And it helps me get off of this job, because my vision of NYPD, my idea of NYPD, just like yours now, is crushed. It's no longer.
I that's a like I didn't think it was like that, like at all. Like I am but I still can't believe it. Like I'm really having a hard time digesting anything that you just said to me.
Right. So that's why Frank Serpico is always so like aggressive towards cops, and that's why he believes in defunding the police and stuff like that, because he knows.
He wants to defund the police.
Yeah, of course. He knows that the structure needs to be broken down. He supports Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. He knows that the structure needs to be broken down in order for it to be fixed. Because the way the NYPD does things, like, okay, you say you guys think stop, question, frisk is done, right? They don't do that no more. Is that your belief?
Yeah. Well,
let's talk about something more recent.
There's Terry stops, right, which is part of stop and frisk, right?
So let's think of something more recent. NYPD said there's no more plainclothes officers and crime cops.
The anti-crime unit was disbanded. Yeah.
Lie.
What? We had a friend who was an officer just told us that.
Ask him what's the new unit created
in place of that.
Wait, did Officer Rob give us smoking mirrors?
No,
he probably doesn't know.
No, this is recent.
Because Rob is like a very honest dude to me.
But he's
ask him
recent.
about the new unit. It's not gun suppression, but shooting suppression. They had it because there is a gun suppression team, but they name it now shooting suppression team, which is basically the crime unit.
Oh, they just relabeled it, you're saying?
They shuffle people around a little bit, and then they relabel everything. Like the PAL, right? The Police Athletic League is now called like Community Something Outreach or whatever.
Wait, why did they relabel the PAL? PAL was such a positive group when I was growing up.
Right.
I was part of PAL.
Right. But the thing is that PAL is a program that NYPD already had, right? And so they want to promote a new program to show that they're changing with the times to connect with the community and the youth. And so they relabeled it.
But that's what they did. They connected with the youth. And when we heard PAL, we were like, it was such a positive thing for where I grew up.
Here's the psychological part behind it. If they say, oh, yeah, PAL, we had PAL.
Yeah.
People can come out and be like, you had PAL for years. It didn't work.
Who's saying that? I could tell them that it was great for our community when I was growing up there.
So are you saying that NYPD is doing a very good job in connecting with these poverty neighborhoods?
No.
Exactly. So PAL doesn't work.
Well, in terms of having actual police officers there,
right?
They weren't there, but it said Police Athletic League. But they set up programs for after school care.
Right.
Right. They set up programs for kids in the community. So in that sense, yes, it did work. But as a kid, I didn't know. It just the name was Police Athletic League, but I never saw officers there.
Right, and they also have like a youth athletic.
But now that I'm older, I would say yes, it actually did help the community.
Right, they have a youth outreach and all that stuff, and they relabeled it to like community outreach type of unit, whatever.
That's weird.
So that they could say, look, we're rebudgeting our funds and we're now bringing the funds into the community. We create this with the new funds and stuff like that.
Oh,
so they can
I see what
relabel
you're saying now.
and show that they're revamping, but they're not really changing anything.
It's not changing it. Yes.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
And then you're talking about the funding, which is reallocating
Right.
from the anti-crime unit, but they didn't really disband it.
right.
So they're not really reallocating the funds. The funds
Right.
are actually there. It's just that renaming these departments,
Right.
smoke and mirrors. That is crazy.
I don't know, man. This is tough for me. I'm having a hard time with
They're
this.
creating a new unit called shooting suppression team.
Well, so what does shooting suppression team mean? Like, what does that?
It's the same thing what the crime unit did.
So they're going to be plainclothes officers.
Right. So they used to have something called before they had the condition unit, they used to have something called SNU. SNU was it was something Special Narcotics Enforcement Unit within the precinct,
Okay.
right? And it was plainclothes cops going out and trying to get drugs off the street and whatever, you know.
And that's good. I'm for
right.
that.
Right, absolutely. But then
I think that's a great idea.
Right, but for some reason there was backlash on it, and they renamed it to Conditions Unit. Same exact thing, except now they're called Conditions Unit. You know, and then like the Anti-Crime Unit, like same exact thing, but now it's called, you know, Shooting Suppression Unit.
I just want to make this clear. I mean, people listening to this, we are not anti-police.
No, not at all. Not
I
at all.
am pro-police, man. I am all for the police.
Well,
but the corruption.
Yes. So
That's the hard part. The raping, the killing, the framing. It's
I want to make this one thing clear. I still love police officers. I still love my fellow cops and stuff, right?
I actually saw you interact with a few of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're majority of them are great cops, and all of them complain about the job being broken, and it's the people who control the job that make the job so miserable and bad for everybody else, right? And those are the people that I'm fighting. The people the 1% that control the job and make the job miserable and whatever. But I can't fight them as a sergeant because they outrank me and they outnumber me, right? So I have to remove myself from the system, right? Quit being a police officer or retire early from being a police officer and get into public office where I can have a position of power and leverage and be like, hey, look, I'm passing this legislative. This is what it's going to correct. This is what it does, and this is how it benefits the community and the people. And so it will change the oversight of how NYPD is being watched. You can't have cops watching cops. You're not going to have a gang police itself, right? So, like, let's say the mafia. You're going to tell the mafia, hey, look, we're not going to enforce you. You enforce yourself.
Right.
Conflict of interest, not going to happen. Not going to work, right? So why would you ask the cops to watch themselves? You know what I mean? Or any, not even... let's not even compare them to criminals, right? Let's compare them to corporate businesses. Would the IRS come in and be like, hey, to like Google, you monitor your own taxes. We'll trust you on what to pay.
They're not paying any taxes.
Exactly. Absolutely not. You're not going to trust a company to monitor itself, you know?
That makes no sense.
Right. So why would you trust the NYPD to investigate and monitor themselves? Why would you trust fire department to do the same thing? Why would you trust correction officers to do the same thing? Makes no sense.
So we spoke to our friend police officer Rob. He mentioned the community police board that's independent from the NYPD that investigates
civilian complaint.
Yes, civilian
CCRB, but they have no teeth.
They don't have the power to do anything.
So they could suggest, and first of all, they don't get corruption cases.
Okay.
They get abuse of power kind of cases or rude kind of cases. Like, so if I come up to you and I'm a police officer and I start cursing at you.
Oh, like HR shit?
Yeah.
Is that community
No,
related?
nothing criminal.
Yeah, what Steve is explaining sounds
Right.
like HR issues.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, you were rude to the person, or you call this person ma'am instead of sir, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's
Different jurisdiction.
right.
Different,
And they don't have teeth, because even though they find a police officer guilty, it's okay. We suggest you give him command discipline, and the guy's well liked. They'd be like, we're not going to give him command discipline.
To
And
me,
that's it.
this seems like like a really good secret because I'm telling you, my mind is blown. This is the first time that I'm hearing about this. I mean, I've seen this shit in movies. And when you're watching a movie, you're so disconnected because you know they're actors.
Right,
you know,
right.
it's all fucking lighting, camera, script. But this, I just, it's fucking me up right now, man. I can't even like.
I mean, like I'm aware that there's corruption in every.
But at this level,
in terms of at that level, I didn't know that the corruption went up to that top brass.
It has to.
So that boggles my mind.
It has to go up to the top brass because the top brass can get wind of it eventually. And if they hear it, they're going to shut it down.
Right.
But if the top brass is involved, they hear wind of it, they're like, okay, yeah.
See no evil,
You know what I mean?
hear no evil.
Right. How do you get up to this top brass? After the rank of captain, there's no more civil service exams. Right? You don't take a test. If you want to get promoted past the rank of captain, you have to be well liked by these people. If you're not well liked, you stay a captain. And you get fucked with. You get put someplace that you don't want to be. They give you road therapy, which means like if you live in Staten Island, okay, transfer them to the Bronx. You know, if you live in the Bronx, transfer them to Staten Island. You know, so forth and stuff like that's called road therapy.
Making their lives miserable.
How do you get up to this top brass? After the rank of captain, there's no more civil service exams. Right? You don't take a test. If you want to get promoted past the rank of captain, you have to be well liked by these people. If you're not well liked, you stay a captain and you get fucked with. You get put someplace that you don't want to be. They give you road therapy, which means like if you live in Staten Island, okay, transfer them to the Bronx. You know, if you live in the Bronx, transfer them to Staten Island. You know, so forth and stuff like that's called road therapy.
Making their lives miserable.
Yes. And on top of that, you're put under somebody else. Like let's say there's this one chief that used to answer to an inspector, which is lower rank, right? A chief answering to an inspector, and he's like, you basically like demoted me. I'm answering to somebody who's lower rank, you know. So if you're not well, like you're not gonna move up. So that's why a lot of these people after the rank of captain, they change. And it's like, I want to move up because the rank of captain is a bad rank. It's
is it?
It's a bad rank because, okay, so you have police officer, detective, then you have sergeant, lieutenant. Lieutenant is supposed to be the best rank, all right? Because lieutenant, you get overtime and cash, whatever, you do whatever you want. And if something comes down to it, procedure-wise, you could either kick it down to your sergeant to do it, or you kick it up and be like, oh, hey, Cap, this is for you. It's above my pay grade. Right, so lieutenant is the best rank, right? So once you become captain, you basically become like a sergeant again, which is like below the inspector and the chief, right? Because now you have captain, inspector, and chief, right? Well, captain, deputy inspector, chief, deputy inspector, deputy chief, assistant chief, bureau chief, right? And then up there is deputy commissioner and commissioner. So you're at the bottom of the pole again, of this executive pole. Right, and now you have to kiss all this ass up here to get promoted.
Holy shit!
It's not based on merit. So now it's like, okay, you want to be part of the crew, you're gonna have to play along. We have to make sure this guy is. You gotta
be. You gotta be one of the guys.
Right. Otherwise, you get tossed to the side.
Now, is it all like white males at that position?
It's a lot of white males. You have maybe a couple of black males, females. Chief Chan was the highest ranking. Asian American.
So there is some sort of diversity in that executive chain.
Look, I don't want to badmouth Chief Chan. He's retiring. I think he just retired actually. I don't want to badmouth him. He's a great guy, awesome guy. But they restrict him. You know, like he can't fall out of the fold. You know, and if he falls out of the fold, you know, he gets blackballed. You know, so he has to play along with the program also. But he's a great guy, awesome guy.
So I want to play devil's advocate here. Like, don't you think to capture the bad guys, like you kind of have to have a sense of bad within yourself? You know, like sometimes to kill a lion, you have to be a lion.
No, you need knowledge of it. For you to actually be, no. Takes one to know one, right? That's what you're trying to say.
For example, if you and I are going to war, you're a bad guy, I'm a good guy, however you want to classify it. But in order for me to catch the bad guy, I need to become a bad guy, even though I'm a good guy. I know I'm getting some weird shit here.
No.
But even though you're a bad, because I need to be because if you're a bad guy and you're willing to do more than me or go further than I am,
right? I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
No. Because that's what makes us the difference between the bad guy and the good guy, right? So the bad guy could do whatever he wants. Bad people could go out and get street justice and do whatever they want. They don't need evidence. They don't care if they messed up. Oh, that wasn't a guy. Okay, fine. We'll just go right to find the guy. You know, even though after they beat him up. Because a lot of times that happened growing up as a kid. They mistaken you for somebody else and you get beaten up. And then it's like, oh, shit, that wasn't him. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. They just leave. You know what I mean? There's no sorries or anything about it. And then, you know, it ends up bad. So, no, I have to disagree with that. If you're a gangster, you're a gangster. If you're a cop, you're a cop. Now, gangsters have their own street rules. Cops have their own rules they have to follow, right? So it's like, I can't just cross the line and be like, oh, you know what? I know he's dirty, right? So I can't find anything on him. Oh, I'm going to plant some evidence on him because I know he's dirty and I'm going to use this evidence and plant it on him and just to arrest him, get him off the street. No, you can't do that. You have to play by the rules because otherwise you become just as bad as that person. And then who are you to catch that person
and
bring that person
that's
to
exactly
justice?
my point. What if you
know?
play by the rules, and because of all of the rules that are in place, it makes it impossible for you to do your job?
That's why you got to fix the system.
You got to find a different way.
Because like you said,
path.
there's 90% good cops, right? And I know it's just a rough number you're throwing out there.
Right.
I cannot believe that 90% of cops are of good cops that outnumber the bad cops, so to speak. Your words, are ignoring the criminals within their own brass.
Yeah, they are because they're not protected. If you come out and speak out on it, nobody's protecting you. You're labeled as a rat. The culture of it is if you speak out, you're a fucking rat or you're a snitch, and snitches get stitches.
Right.
You know? So you know,
but for that, like what I've seen, if you want to beat your opponent, you need to either outsmart them,
right,
or be more aggressive than them.
Yeah.
And that generally applies for like almost everything.
Right.
So either you outwit them or outpower them.
Here's the thing, right? So the reason I put in the lawsuit is one, to protect myself, right? And get in the media and spotlight, right? To protect myself. Also to help, hopefully it will cause a movement to change it, right? To the court system. Second thing is I'm running for a state assembly and, you know, I'm going to be up in a higher position of power to pass state legislative law to have an agency to oversee them, right? Now, hopefully, if I'm successful, other cops that want to come out and speak out will see people like me and Edward Raymond in these positions of power, and they'll reach out to us. Because I had people reaching out to me after I put in my lawsuit and made the papers and stuff like that. They reached out to me and be like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. This is what happened with me, blah, blah, blah. I'm fighting them also. And so it became like the whistleblowers just started reaching out. That's how Serpico started reaching out. That's how other whistleblowers from D.C., from LAPD, from, you know, Mount Vernon and stuff, they start reaching out. Yeah. So it's not just one place. Like, it's international, right? Everybody starts reaching out and they're like, I know what you went through. I went through the same thing. I'm going through it in Canada, blah, 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 in Toronto, you know, and so forth and so on. So it's not just an NYPD thing. It's a law enforcement thing, right? And it happens everywhere because there's corruption everywhere. It's just people need to speak out about it, right? And so if we are successful, if I win my election, I'm successful and winning this power. It's a win, and people will be encouraged. Like, oh, you know what? Look, he spoke out. He beat them. I could beat them too.
You're providing the blueprint for everyone to see.
You know, but if I lose, it's like, oh shit. If I speak out, that's what happens to me.
They're gonna go back in there.
Right.
I see.
You know what I mean? So it's very, very sad though. fighting against corruption and doing that and looking and seeking for a way out into a higher seat of power, like you're saying, so I could do something about it and change it. But then your opponent is talking about how he's fighting corruption and he's for abolishing the system and corruption, systematic system, whatever. But meanwhile, you're attacking me for being a cop that spoke out and broke the blue wall of silence. So now
He's calling you a dirty cop, you said.
yeah, he's calling me a dirty racist cop also. But now not only are you is the system punishing me, where the NYPD is punishing me, you're also going to punish me. And now you're also setting an example, like if you speak out, you're a rat and you're a dirty racist cop. And not only that, the job is going to come after you, but these politicians are going to come after you and use that against you also. So that's actually setting us back even more, right? Sending us whistleblowers back even more, because now he's like, you know, scaring people that want to speak out away, because they're like, look, this guy's getting attacked. He's getting called dirty and corrupt, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, they're attacking my friends, my family, right? So like recently, China Mac had reached out to me and said, hey, look, there's this 89-year-old lady that was burned in Bensonhurst. And I said, yeah, I saw it on the news. He was like, yo, we got to do something about that. And I'm like, okay, what do you got in mind? Yo, we got to do something about it. We got to, like, you know, do a march or something. We got to find these dudes, you know, whatever, pressure the NYPD to find them. I'm like, look, I know a guy, Will, he's been doing the...
Lex Ham?
Yeah, Will Lex Ham. He's been doing the Asian Black Lives Matter protesters. He has better experience in rallying and marching and stuff. I'll put you in contact with him. So I put them together, and they put together, them too, because I told them I purposely don't want to get involved and organize and speak at these rallies, because I don't want them to be attacked for it, right? Like Will, when he was doing the Asian for Black Lives Matter thing, same thing. I kept out of it. I attended to support, right? So like, let's say, you know, you do something, I believe in it. I'm gonna come and support you. I'm gonna come to your event. I'm gonna, you know, rally with you.
You'll be present.
Right, I'll be present.
But it's not your rally.
No, not at all, right? So they can't burn us all. It's all China Mac and Will. They asked me, hey, Steve, you want to speak? No, I'm good. You know, it's your thing. Do your thing. I don't want it to be corrupted by politics and the campaign and stuff like that. My opponents start attacking you.
But what can they attack them for?
But they're saying that they support a pro cop. They support me, which I'm a cop, and I'm pro, and that makes them pro cop to the point where it's like they're racist and corrupt also, because they support cops and all cops are bastards.
They're basically gaslighting. They're trying to make up things to connect certain things,
and none of it
doesn't make sense.
None of it has proof.
That's a weird thing to say.
Absolutely.
And if they're in trouble, those same people, if they're in trouble, the first thing they're going to do is call the cops.
Right.
Being a hypocrite, you know.
Exactly. I don't understand that part.
In a big way. In a very, 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 very big way.
And if he's a politician, why is he shitting on cops?
Because he's trying to gain the far left support, because he wants to run for higher office.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Someone did tell us, if you want your podcast to pop off, start talking, like, stop with this, like, real shit.
And go
hard censorship. Left. Go hard left. Take a hard left. If you look at all the big podcasts, they take a hard left, whether they believe it or not.
How about speak the truth? How about that?
Yeah,
be real.
Exactly. He doxed me online during my primary. Doxed me online, called me a corrupt racist cop, and then put my address online, my full address, with my name and date of birth and my full address. And this is during the height. Did he put a
hit out on you?
This is the height of the Black Lives Matter protest.
They do that when you want to put a hit on someone.
Right. So this is the height of the Black Lives Matter protest, when people were rioting in Manhattan still, and people were angry, and, you know, they have every right to be angry and stuff, but they're looking for blood, right, or justice, and, you know,
and they're trying to send them, feed them you,
right, and they have every right to do so, to look for justice and to be angry, but he put my name out there like that. And
why did he do that? That's strange.
He was threatened. So what happened was, there was going to be a protest at Skyview.
Okay.
We got word.
The condo where Skyview Park, yeah.
And at that time, we heard that Ron Kim was supporting the Black Lives Matter marches, and that he was trying to organize some. So we heard, it might be misinformation at this time right now, but supposedly he was trying to organize a Black Lives Matter march in the parking lot of Skyview, and
Your opponent.
yeah, and his people, right, trying to organize something like that. And then word got out that they were going to try to loot Target. Like, other people were saying, oh, let's loot Target inside Skyview. So I was there just to keep the peace. I support the movement. At that time, I attended maybe 1 or 2 Black Lives Matter protests already, and I was like, oh, this is, good movement. What happened to George Floyd was definitely murder. His criminal record has nothing to do about it. All right? You shouldn't be questioning criminal record. It has nothing to do about it. He was definitely murdered. The knee on the neck for 9 minutes is ridiculous. I watched the video. I saw that he was handcuffed. In my opinion, he could have been sat up and with his legs spread, sitting down. If you're waiting for somebody to come pick him up, like the ambulance to show up or something like that, if you think that he has mental issues and he needs to go to the hospital, you wait for the ambulance to show up, and you're trying to subdue him while you're waiting for the ambulance to show up. You could simply sit him up, or you could put him on his side. You don't have to have your neck.
I've seen police officers do that all the time.
Right.
Sit them up while you already have full control of them.
Right. The NYPD already bans the chokehold.
Right.
You're not allowed to use chokehold in NYPD anyway.
Right. Rob told us that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they now ban the chokehold even more, right? By law, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, they have a diaphragm law where you can't even touch the chest or the back.
Oh.
Yeah, even accidentally.
Wow.
Yes. So have you ever tried to wrestle somebody and pin them down?
Wait, criminals trying to do some crazy shit. Like, what
Right.
are they supposed to do then?
Right. So now the psychology behind this is, it's
That's
done in well intention, right? It's to prevent something like that to happen from here, right? It's done in well intention.
Was this post George Floyd? Is this brand new?
This is new. Yeah.
Whoa. Like
Diaphragm
post,
law?
like right after George Floyd, or?
About a month or 2 after. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. The city council pushed for that. So here's the thing. Yes, great idea. Ban chokehold. Great. No problem. Cops have no problem with that because cops don't use
I'm with
chokehold.
that.
Cops don't use
I'm with banning
chokeholds anyway.
chokeholds, yeah.
Right. But the diaphragm thing, I think it should be written where, okay, once you have the person in handcuffs, secured in handcuffs, you are no longer allowed to put your knee or stand on whatever on their back or on their chest where it cuts off their breathing, right? That's the whole thing. But when you're trying to wrestle with somebody, you have to like use some kind of leverage, like an arm bar. Your leg is across the chest, right? An arm bar. When you're trying to do a katana or whatever, like was it Himura or whatever? Like
Kimura. Yeah.
Kimura, right? Your arm goes up and around onto the person's back or whatever, right? So it's very hard to do any kind of like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or grappling move without touching the back and chest, right?
It basically pretty much all involves
right. Back and chest, because that's a safe spot, right? That's a safe. That's a safe area, right?
That's how you control. You got to get the core. You got to control them.
Exactly. So now, what they're I think what they're teaching now is they're retraining everybody, and I think what they're trying to teach now is going for the legs or something like that and hip control, right? Whereas like 2 people is now going to come and take you down by the leg and the hip or something like that, and it's hard, right? It's hard to do our jobs. It's already hard to do our jobs to begin with, right? Without public lashback, because we know, we have a saying in NYPD, the job doesn't have your back. The city doesn't have your back.
From the outside looking in, it feels like they do.
No.
The public perception.
Never.
But that's public perception. They think that you guys are like a freaking legalized gang.
Right. But the job doesn't have your back, unless you're protected. Goes back to hooks and who you know.
Right.
But majority of the cops, they get thrown under the bus. Right. And so people stop enforcing now. Right. And those that are hardcore Kool-Aid drinkers that want to bring in the numbers and stuff like that and start enforcing, they're not going to grapple with you. they'd be like, oh, all right, I can't touch your back and chest. No problem. There's no loophole with me tasering you now, or, hitting you with my baton into your legs and breaking your legs or anything like that. Or, there's no rule against me, cracking you over the head or anything, right? Or, I won't get in trouble if I saw a weapon, or I thought I saw a weapon, and, justify me shooting you now.
Jesus
right?
Christ.
Because now before it's like, hey, I could try to subdue the guy. I could, physically, take him down, whatever. No, now it's like, you know what? I'm not going to touch him. I'm going to get in trouble if I touch him. I'm going to go straight for my taser. I'm going to go straight for my gun, so forth and so on.
So you're saying that there's, because of the limitation of those apprehending procedures, that now there's escalation of violence.
Yes. So
whereas before they were fighting for the opposite. The whole point of this law is to
de-escalate, to
de-escalate the
right, because
chances of
as a cop, I don't want to use my gun because I know that it's going to be a lot of backlash. And what if I take the person's life and I make a mistake, and I'm gonna it's not. It's the last resort you want to do, right? Absolute sure of life and death situation where you got to use a gun, right? That's the situation where God forbid I would have to do that, but that's the situation where I would use my gun, right? But the thing is, give me more tools or more options where I could safely take the person down or take the person into custody.
Now, do you think police officers need more training?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a big thing where the funding needs to go is training. You need one more physical combat training, right? You need more verbal skills.
Right.
You need to know how to talk to somebody.
Psychological, emotional awareness, emotional IQ.
Right. You need to control your anger, one, right? Some cops
and your ego.
Yeah, some cops can't control it and they just flip out at every job. And me and his brother-in-law used to always go to jobs and be like, "What the fuck? These guys? All right, let's leave." You know what I mean? Like we know it's gonna turn to some like bag of shit or something like that. Or it's like if they show up at our 1 hour jobs, we're like, "We're good. Let us handle it.
Yeah,
go away."
Yeah, we don't need you guys escalating things.
Right. Or when they escalate it. And they're like, fuck you, we'll get backing you up, blah, blah, blah. You don't like to back up? All right, cool, go ahead. And then they back up and they try to escalate it. And it's like, now that you build all this energy into this person and got this person all worked up, now you're going to leave it for us?
Right.
And we would just be like, okay, yeah, you want to handle it? And then they'll come in and they'll start escalating, blah, 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 blah. Me and him would just dip out. We'll leave and then let them handle it. Because it's like, a lot of times, like me and his brother-in-law, we used to go around. We used to talk to the guys, and they would start up here, always. No, not always. Sorry, always is a bad word. You could never say always. Most of the time, it was start up here. Yeah, frequently it will start up here, and I don't blame them. Pissed off, something just happened. You're in a heated argument. Cops show up. Who the fuck called the cops on me? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't do anything. You trying to come in. It's like, why are you coming in? I didn't do anything. You got a warrant, blah, blah. You're pissed off. I understand that. One of the things is, that what we used to say to them is, sir, I understand you're upset. I'm talking to you like a gentleman, right? Please, man to man or woman to man, person to person, treat me with the same respect. Because if you're screaming up here, I'm going to start screaming over you because you're not going to talk over me, right? Because I'm the authority here now. I'm the police officer. I'm here to help you. I didn't come showing up on your door randomly. Somebody called me here, right? Oh, nobody called. Okay, not a problem. Radio, Central, can you please repeat the job? Blah, 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 at such and such address. But nobody called. Okay. Central, can you try to call back? They call back. 911 will call back. And then all of a sudden, the phone rings. And it's like, who called the cops? And it's like, I call the cops, blah, 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 blah. It's like, why you call the cops for? And then it's like, look, we're here. Are you guys good? Yeah, everything's all right, blah, blah. We're just arguing about this, that, and third. Okay, take a walk, cool off, and then, you guys talk, whatever, just leave the house for now, take a walk, whatever. It's my house. I ain't going nowhere. All right. you know, you understand, like, she's pissed off, you're pissed off. She might put false allegations on you. You're in violation of this. She's in violation of that. If we have to enforce, both of you guys are going to end up getting arrested. So either you take a walk by yourself, come back and chill out, or we arrest both of you guys, because you know there's already violation here and there. It's minor violations, but it's still arrestable violations, right?
Right.
So, you know, and most of the time they're like, all right, I'll walk. So, and they'll take a walk, they'll come back. Next day, you know, or whenever we're walking, you know, the beat or in that neighborhood, they see us again. They're like, yo, Lee, you know, Ing, thank you very much. You know, like,
Oh shit, really?
you know, like, you know, I could have lost my job, you know, whatever. You know, we're going through a rough time. I really appreciate that you did that, you know, and I was able to keep my job, whatever. And then the next time something happens, they recognize you and they vouch for you, right? So sometimes, like, it was big events or big things happening, whatever, and then like the crowd will gather on you, and they'll be like, "Yo, chill, Lee is good." You know, I had people vouch for me a couple times, right? And they're like, "Yo, Lee's good, and they'll be like, "What? Yo, he's good." And since he's from the neighborhood, they trust his word, and they're like, "All right, cool, we'll back off." You know, and they'll be like, "Yo, what's that about?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, blah blah. I got you. You know, like it's
smart.
It helps
Instead
out
of making them an enemy, you want to see if they could turn them.
But that's what we need. We need the community to work with the police force.
That's the epitome of community policing.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
That's
We need to
right
work
there.
together.
Because I'm listening to your story. Someone's going crazy like that without the proper training for me. My initial reaction is like, "Oh, you want to play? You want to act crazy?" You know, like I'm going at them too.
Sorry.
Yeah, it smells. We're in New York City, so we just got.
This is a podcast. It's not Smellogram.
We smell. We smell some interesting stuff going on right now.
My K9 senses are kicking in.
Ooh man, that's some real potent stuff right there.
But you know, like we also need programs where we need community leaders to come in to teach us, or community people, or people with different culture to come in and teach us about different cultures.
Oh,
there's a lot of misunderstanding. So a lot of I love my white people too, right? I love everybody equally, but a lot of people are from Long Island, and they're from, you know, white cultures and stuff like that, right? European, Italian cultures, and in Long Island, there's not a lot of black and brown communities where they live, and so they don't come out to the city that much, right? And some of them are first time coming to the city when they became a cop, and so when they're assigned to these minority neighborhoods, they're culture shocked. They're like, "Wow, I never seen so many black people before." I'm like,
that, and from having manicured lawns,
right,
with everybody knowing and looking like you,
right,
and then going there
to the ghetto,
where everything's concrete,
right,
graffiti, glitter,
and then you know what they say?
People speak differently. The energy's different.
Right. They say, "Oh my God, how can they live like this? It's like savages." Oh, so forth and so on. Dude, I'll ask them, "Where the hell are you from? Are you from New York?" Like,
Long Island. Yeah, some may say Long Island is not really part of New York.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm from Long Island. Yo, you never been to the city?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in that, and to me, it's part of culture. Like, graffiti is not garbage to me. To me, graffiti is art.
Yeah,
right.
Some graffiti I think is art.
Right.
I
think viewed as art. Yeah.
Yeah, I see one the graffiti as the 5 elements of hip hop. Right.
Yeah, some of it's beautiful.
You know, you got MC, you got graffiti, you got breakdancing, DJs, you know, and so forth and so on. So it's part of the culture. It's part. So also, you know, it's gang territory marking and stuff like that sometimes, but most of it is art. All right.
We're talking about the art specifically. Yeah.
Right. So they see that and they're like, "Oh my God, what are they doing?" And they don't understand the culture. So one, they're culture shocked. Two, they're scared because they've never seen so many black and browns in one neighborhood or Asians in one neighborhood and so forth. So they feel outnumbered. They're out of their element. They're scared. When you're scared, you become defensive.
Absolutely.
Right. So
and then because you fear what you don't understand.
Exactly. So you know, they sometimes go, you know, they keeping their hand on the gun, their
I see
back is
that.
on the
I see
wall.
that.
They're like, somebody comes up to them and they're like, oh, what do you want? You know, they hesitate,
Right.
so forth and so on. So you have to have people come in and teach them about these cultures, right, and stuff like that, where they can understand stuff like Juve and the Labor Day Parade and mass camps and stuff, where they have to understand that these things were set up to raise money. They're fundraisers, right, to pay for the float and pay for the costumes in the parade, right, and that's why they set up these parties and stuff like that, to raise money. They're not just celebrating just to throw parties because people are around. No, they're raising money
For the community.
right. Exactly.
Yeah, for
That's
their
why
community.
they have that's why the Saturday and Sunday before the Monday Labor Day, the weekend, all these people come out from different countries. They come out and they support the community and they raise funds and stuff. Yeah, of course you have the gang activity that happens, whatever, and stuff like
And
that
then
too.
there's sometimes
It gets-
shootings and
yeah.
these events.
But that's not the main focus of
Right.
it. Then they don't
That's not the primary purpose. It was
Right.
to help the community.
Right. You
And
always
sometimes
have-
you got a few bad apples that ruin it.
Exactly. You always have bad apples, especially when you have these gangs that one is in one territory and the other one's the other territory, and during this day they're all crossing each other.
That's tough.
You know what I mean? So
tough.
it's hard to control, but
Yeah.
it's if you work with the community on it, instead of seeing them all as the enemy, and you work with the community, they could point out these guys are the problem. Those guys are the problem. Put the cops here and put the cops there. We'll handle the rest of the community because the rest of the community are raising money.
Why
and
don't they
actually-
do
They
that?
just
right?
want to have fun. They just want
Why
to
don't they do that?
Because
That
the-
sounds like common sense. Like
Right, but nothing makes sense in the NYPD.
if
I'm
you
telling you this right
if
now.
I was in a position of power and then you came into my office, I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot. Why don't we give that a shot and see what happens?
Because nothing makes sense in the NYPD. If you ever read the NYPD patrol guide, you're like, why the fuck would I do it that way? Like, what is the purpose of that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Do you think that's the old school mentality?
Yes.
Like when we're talking about, it's a systemic issue, right?
Well, that's one of the bit. Two, they want to keep the mentality of it's always us against them,
Why?
because then they keep the power over you. Because then you click up and you keep that gang mentality. It's us against them. You understand? They control you better.
Right. So
Because
they-
then it's like the public is not there to help you.
Right. There's
They're
no
trying
cracks.
to hang you.
They're trying to limit the amount of cracks within this
Right.
the department.
Right. Because look, we're your only family. You only could trust us.
It's a fucking cult.
You know what I mean? Because now you think about it, right? If you work with the community, right, and it's no longer us against them, it's the community with us, right, working together against criminals and crime. Now, if you see crime within NYPD, you have somebody to go to. You could go to that community leader and be like, look, this is what's going on. This is what I saw. That community leader could then bring out the community.
Protest, rally,
Protest, point this guy out. They'll go to the press will cover it. The politicians would have to listen to them because they control the votes. So now you have a great tool to fight the corruption because now you're no longer isolated.
Right.
You have people to go to and be like, these people are corrupt. Look, help me fight the corruption. Okay, you know what? These are civilians, right? Civilians could be like, all right, let me pretend to pay them off. We record it on camera. We'll get them, and then, we'll get the people to rally, and we'll tell the chief to do something. And if he doesn't do anything, we'll call him out too.
It's not that simple.
You know what I mean?
Real life don't work like that.
No. Real life don't work like that because it's us against them mentality. And it's always the public is out to get us, and the cops are out to get the public.
And now the public's looking like the cops ain't shit.
Yeah, and the cops are out to get the public.
And that sucks because I know a lot of good cops.
Yeah.
I know a lot of good cops.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
So the divide is what stops us from doing great work.
Yeah.
Right. So you definitely need more training. You definitely need more people to educate people in different cultures. Like even us Chinese, right? So us Chinese, as a child, my mom used to burn paper money, right?
Mhm.
For your,
And
same
yeah,
here.
and for my ancestors and stuff, for our ancestors, and also she used to put out like food,
Yeah.
and then the seats,
I know
empty
that.
seats.
My mom used to do that in our
Yeah.
apartment in the city. She would take off the batteries on the smoke alarm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then like pour the wine and stuff like that, and the incense and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was one of the problems in finding a good lawyer, right? So the reason why I went with Eric Sandler and Joe Murray is because at first it was Eric Sandler, right? And Eric Sandler, I went with him because he used to be a police officer.
Oh shit.
And he understands how the system works. So there's a lot of stuff like you're trying to describe, but it's hard to describe unless you lived it, right?
Right.
But
they're not worried about backlash on them?
No, he's a person that usually represents cops in the department. Right?
Oh shit.
So that's why it was good. But then I found out that he was also representing the karaokes that are suing the NYPD, right, from the same incident.
Holy shit! There's an active lawsuit on karaoke's out of.
Yeah, the karaokes have a $300 million lawsuit on NYPD.
Holy shit!
It's 3 different karaokes that have a lawsuit against the NYPD for $300 million, and Eric Sandler he represents them. So when I reached out to him, I was like, okay, let me tell you the story and let me know if there's conflict of interest. Told him the story. He goes, no, it's not a conflict of interest. And a matter of fact, I could probably use you as a key witness because I was the main undercover for that. And I'm testifying to, we shut down this karaoke, right, just to gain favor with Jimmy. So we get paid off by Jimmy. But you can't do that. You can't just go into McDonald's, shut down McDonald's because you want to gain favor with Burger King, get paid off by Burger King so you can arrest Burger King, right? McDonald's has nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? They're innocent in it. So that's what they're suing for, the harassment of that, right?
Right.
Then he put in the notice of claim, but it wasn't the actual lawsuit. So I kept them asking me, look, they're coming after me. I need you to put in the actual lawsuit. So he was like, I'll put in the actual lawsuit when I want to, blah, blah, blah. He went off on me. And I was like, red flag. I gotta go, right? Red flag. I went looking for lawyers. Another lawyer. Civil rights lawyers and stuff like that. Went looking for these kind of lawyers. And they were all culture shocked. They were like, no way. Wait, so
they were like me?
Yeah, so they were like
fucked up, like, no way.
NYPD does what? No way.
So you ended up finding the right lawyer.
Joe Murray.
And he wasn't shocked.
No. He went through the same thing. Right?
Okay.
So he went through something similar with they went after him and stuff like that, and they tried to destroy his career.
He was a whistleblower as well?
No, he wasn't a whistleblower.
But he just found another lane.
He faced the retaliation part of it.
Right.
And then he ended up being a lawyer. He ended up representing himself, won, and then the judge was like, you're great, you did a great job, you should become a lawyer. And so he went to school, became a lawyer, and then, quit the NYPD, whatever, and so forth and so on, right? So he understood how the system works. He's like a public defender kind of guy.
Has he won a lot of cases?
Yeah, he's like, he represents a lot of defendants that have been arrested wrongfully by NYPD and stuff.
I'm really shocked that you can even trust people at this point.
Well, you get a sense of intuition, right? Where it's like you could sense like, okay, this guy's kind of shady. I know what this guy's about, or this person's all right, so far and so on.
No.
It's New York, bro. You're gonna hear a
got
fight
some
ending.
sirens.
I know.
Norm's getting all nervous. He's a perfectionist. Like, I don't want to screw it up for the listeners.
He's like,
sorry guys, we're in New York.
This is a podcast.
Yeah.
It's not just on video. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of sirens.
But this is New York.
So we're giving you the real stuff out here.
Authenticity.
Yeah, it's authentic.
I want to touch on like some of the policies. Some people listening may want to help you get an office for the people living in Queens out there.
Okay.
How do they go and vote for you, and when?
Well, one, you have to be living in Assembly District 40, which is Flushing and Whitestone. If you're in AD 40, November 3rd is the general election. I ran in the Democratic primary. I'm a registered Democrat now. I ran in the Democratic primary and I lost against Ron Kim. It was 3-1. I got like 1,500 something votes. He got like 3,000 something votes.
Right, and that was the first time you've ever ran for office.
Correct,
and that's considered pretty damn good because he ran unopposed for 8 years.
Right, he ran unopposed for 8 years only because nobody ran against him.
And then the new kid on the block, for the first time he faces, I guess, an opponent, gets a third of the votes.
Right. And before, he wasn't that bad. Before, he was actually moderate conservative Democrat, like pushing, like, for things that made sense, right? Not Now he's far left, and the reason that he's saying that he's far left is to gain favor from the far left, right?
Well, that makes sense.
But yeah, but thing is, you're not doing it because you truly believe in it.
Right.
You're just doing it just to gain favor. That's pretty stupid to me, right? It's being fake, right? You're trying to like use that side, and then you're gonna try to prove to them, yeah, I'm with you guys, but you don't really believe in it. You know, if you're gonna do something, look, if he truly believed in the cause of the far left and stuff like that, with some of the stuff I actually believe in, right? So it's like defunding the police, right? I believe in that, sure.
And you're a police officer saying that, which is fucking crazy to me.
Here's the thing, though. Defunding the police, the way it was explained to me was reallocating the funds to where it's actually needed, right? Where it will do the maximum potential, right? So, like, more training. The funds will go redirected to more training. Community outreach, community policing. The funds will go to community policing. You know, helping the homeless. Instead of having to paying the homeless outreach unit, you have people just deal with homeless people to go actually, you know, have like, a shelter or something like a program in place to get them back on their feet. You know,
where would they defund from? Which areas?
Defund homeless outreach unit.
Okay,
that's the actual unit.
Oh, right. That is an actual unit.
Yeah, the homeless outreach unit.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have transit homeless outreach unit, right? Which is on the vans. It says THOU.
Sometimes I've never seen
back,
that.
Yeah, it's a small unit, but they have it.
So you're saying that's like an unnecessary unit?
No, because they don't. It's hard for the NYPD to get a homeless person off the street. One, they don't trust us, right? Because they just get sent to the hospital, or they put in a shelter where they don't want to be, where they're actually a worse situation than being on the street, because a lot of these shelters, there's a lot of like people getting raped and robbed and stuff like that in the shelters, right? And it's mostly a mental hygiene issue, right? And you need to get a mental hygiene program involved in it. And police officers, we're not psychiatrists, we're not doctors, we're not social workers and stuff like that. We're trained to enforce the law, you know. And if you have this homeless outreach unit, like, it's only going to be misused for politicians to clean up certain areas where they're being pressured to by the community, right? They're not truly out there to help homeless people. They're like, okay, you know what? Williamsburg, there's a whole bunch of homeless people now. There's an encampment. We want the homeless outreach unit to clean it up because the Hasidic Jews don't like it no more. It's an eyesore to them, right? So instead of going in and giving them programs or getting them back on their feet or understanding why they're out there, right? And a way to help them and give them tools to get back on their feet and join the economy back again, they just go in, grab the stuff, throw it in the back of a sanitation truck, right? And then they tell the homeless people, move along or go to the hospital, right?
Just relocate them.
Yeah. And then where do they get pushed to? They get pushed to other neighborhoods. But thing is,
it doesn't fix the problem.
Right. But they're not being helped. You know? And they don't want to go to these.
It's just moving the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't want to go to the shelters, because the shelters is a bad place. Right. I don't know. I know a couple of friends that faced homelessness before, and they're like, the shelter is really bad. But unfortunately, you have to go do the shelter to get housing. All right. So if you want to sign up for like Section 8 and stuff like that, and you're homeless, you need to go through the shelter, spend time there while you're on a waiting list to get put into a housing unit or something like that.
So you essentially have to stay there until
So because the system is backed up.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you need mental hygiene programs and stuff like that. So people like the mayor created a mental hygiene program and created a $1 billion budget. He made his wife in charge of it. I think 800 million disappeared unaccounted for.
Wait, 800 million?
800 to 900 million.
This is public knowledge too?
Yes.
Wait, this is almost $1 billion.
Yeah, of that $1 billion budget.
Where did it go? To like an offshore Cayman Islands account?
That's what everybody's asking. And so the Inspector General launching the Department of Investigations.
So it's their job to look into this.
Launched an investigation and they got fired by the mayor. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
who's overseeing these people now, right? So that's why I want to get in office and put a state agency in place where something like this happens. The attorney general will come in or something like that, state attorney general, or the district attorney will come in or something. Somebody of a higher office or publicly elected office where it's not affected by the mayor, don't answer to the mayor, right? The mayor has no power.
It's a completely separate entity.
Right, like an overseer. to
Oversight
come in-
community.
right, from the community, by the community, right, comes in and says, this is wrong, we're going to investigate it, what's going on. And they're not stopped by any politicians or any
They're
other
not worried about their
systematic-
job security.
Right. It's an individual, agency, right? Something independent.
Right.
And they have actual teeth to do something,
Right. They have to have.
right? They could come in and lock you up and be like, boom, we found evidence that you stole $900 million from this mental hygiene program and we're going to arrest you now. Or just recently.
How does $1 billion disappear like that?
Bro.
I mean,
Have you seen the new police academy at
y-
NYPD?
No.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any of this shit, man.
One day I'll give you guys a tour. All right. That project was supposed to be 4 phases. Right. They also had a $1.1 billion budget or something like that. Right. They built part of phase 1 only. Ran out of money, and the place is still falling apart right now. They just built it. It's a new police academy, right?
it's a building.
Yeah,
a new
it's
building.
Where
not-
is it at?
It's on College Point in Flushing.
Okay.
Right? It's where I work at now. So I can tell you firsthand, shit is falling apart.
Jeez.
Already.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. And they spent over $1.1 billion, right?
They
know-
already spent 1.1
Yeah.
billion.
Oh, they ran out
Yeah,
of.
they ran out of the money. The range was supposed to be put there. The driver's training unit was supposed to be put there. All the training
They
units
didn't. They
were supposed to be
didn't. They
put in
didn't
one
like
spot.
set up a budget and allocate the
They
funds
did
already.
They did, but
Did it get misappropriated?
yes. So where did that money go?
Yeah.
So all this stuff is all this kind of stuff is happening all the time.
And it's under the mayor's nose that this
Yes,
is happening.
all the time. But this project didn't happen under De Blasio. I think this project happened under Bloomberg, right? And this is happening all the time.
So wait,
Or
it's
these
been
back-
happening that long? Like where
Yes,
this is?
backroom deals, budgeting for okay. So for instance, on my live stream last night, right, I was talking about Ron Kim, my opponent, right? He got COVID-19 budget from Albany, right? When COVID-19 started happening, Ron Kim and the APA task force secured a budget for Flushing and victims of COVID-19, businesses affected by COVID-19, right? And it was about like maybe 10 million or something like that. Where'd the money go? Small businesses didn't get it, right? The only person that I saw that got it was Kaipa.
Wait, but isn't there
Right.
like a money trail? There's always a money trail.
Right. So the only person that I saw that got it was Kaipa, which is a doctors association, right? So they got it. They claim they put out testing sites and did testing and stuff like that. But did you hear about it? Did they promote it? Did you hear about it?
The PPP.
No, the testing and stuff like that.
No.
PPP, come on, masks. They're thousands of cents. I bought 5,000 masks with my own money. When I was running, when this first thing happened, and they were like, "Oh, don't wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. It makes it worse." Right? And I was like, "But you're telling us wear a mask for the common flu, but you're telling us not to wear a mask for the coronavirus. That don't make sense to me. How are you going to tell the difference? If somebody has the flu or the coronavirus, you know what I mean? Like, how do you tell? So wear a fucking mask. That's the. So I bought masks anyway, and I gave it out to the seniors and stuff because I read in China that it was affecting seniors and children more, right? So I gave it out to the seniors before the Department of Health and all that stuff was talking about wearing masks. They were actually encouraging people not to wear masks, and all these politicians actually did that too. They came out and spoke and said, "Don't wear a mask," and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is the science behind this?" And it was because they didn't want elections to be affected. And they didn't want people going out and panic and buying masks, and then there's a shortage of masks and so forth and so on, which is stupid, in my case.
But there was a shortage anyway, and elections weren't
Right.
impacted
Right.
anyway.
If that was the case, why didn't you go out and secure the masks and give it out to people? Right. So what are the cases? So Ron Kim, he secured $10 million, and none of the businesses saw it. He gave it to Kaipa. Kaipa in turn bought some masks or donate. You know what? Those masks that he donated were donated from Peter too. It wasn't even donated from Kaipa. So you can't even deduct that from the $10 million.
But who's
budget,
there
right?
to hold anyone accountable when money goes missing like that? Like, how can you? What kind of accounting? I don't get it.
Nobody.
So the government just goes, "Here's this money," and then they stop checking.
They say, "Here's this money," and then you give a receipt that is allocated, right? And so it's like, okay, that's how the APA task force. And be like, yeah, I allocate, $10 million to Lucky Boy Podcast Foundation. They're gonna claim to, do
Deal.
community outreach.
I wish.
No. I mean, like they're gonna do community outreach. They're gonna do, awareness. They're gonna do whatever, and then you guys produce receipts like, oh yeah, we bought studio equipment. We had to rent the place and renovate the place for the studio, whatever. We bought, film, batteries.
So
whatever.
they had to be working together, these vendors or whoever.
So here's the
and
connection,
produce
right?
invoices.
Right. So here's the thing. He donated to Kaipa. He then got Kaipa's endorsement for the race, which is not a surprise, right? If you give them millions of dollars,
Right.
they're gonna endorse you, right? They donated to his campaign. That's the kickback, right? I give you guys money. You guys in turn personally donate to my campaign.
The same amount of money?
No, not the same amount.
They have to get some money.
Yeah, it's not gonna be the same amount.
It's
It's
less.
not. It wasn't a big significant amount where, I
If
think
they could give them the same amount of money, they wouldn't have needed it in the first place.
To me, that's sort of like embezzling funds.
Yeah,
where
but
you're giving it to a different vendor.
I'm pretty
and then
sure-
it's coming back to you.
He doesn't want it in his campaign funds, because if it's in his campaign funds, then he has to then watch that campaign funds thing, right?
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure it went back somewhere into maybe his lobbying firm or whatever. I'm pretty sure he got it filtered back to him somehow, right? So the other way I know this is that they're in cahoots together is because on 4th of July on Instagram, after he thought that he won the election, because in my district, once you win the Democratic primary, it's basically game over, right? Like the Democratic is a super Democratic district. And once you win the Democratic primary, it's basically game over. You won, right? So he thought, okay, I won the Democratic primary. I won. July 4th, he's on the Kaipa's, head of Kaipa's association's boat watching fireworks, saying thank you to, my good friend from Kaipa, blah, 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 for the fireworks show, whatever. And then he's fishing with them and stuff like that. So it's like, he has a relationship with these guys, right?
You're on a boat with someone.
Right. So like, it's just so funny though, that he thinks that he's so untouchable that he could just post this kind of stuff up and donate to these people and, and put the connection out there like that, and people are not going to do anything, or people are just going to ignore it. You know what I mean? That's to the point where
it is being ignored.
Yeah, it is being ignored, but I see it, so I'm not going to ignore it.
And you expose it. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I'm here, talking to you guys, and that's why, I want to get into office so I could get rid of corrupt politicians like this. You know what I mean? Like, the funds should be coming to our community.
Right.
It shouldn't be going to Kaipa or whatever, because they could pocket it or whatever.
It should be going to the people that actually
it should be
need
going
it.
to somebody who's grassroots, active in the community.
Right.
Because we need those funds. You know how many businesses are going out of business because of coronavirus and stuff like that?
Oh my gosh, countless.
So we need those funds desperately. And, a person that like that who doesn't care about the community, right, and just gives this money away or tries to pocket it somehow is not the right person to be in office, in my opinion.
Okay. And I know that he also has his thoughts about you as well.
Yes. But his thoughts are, whenever he posts something up, ask him for the facts.
Okay. Because he also had, like you said, he said you're a corrupt cop.
Yeah.
Who dates strippers.
Yes, who dates
and
strippers.
who is, I guess, like a womanizer and a woman beater. Right. That's some of the stuff that he's that you're saying that he's claiming as fact to
Discredit.
Yeah, to your character. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from here. We'll certainly keep an an eye out for the election and what's going on. November 3rd.
November 3rd.
November 3rd.
Yeah, give another shout out to your constituents.
Shout out to Flushing and Whitestone. Thank you everybody for the people that have been helping me throughout the election. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can win this race in the general election and get rid of this person that's been sitting in office for 8 years and doing nothing.
Do you have a website where people?
Yes, stevefornewyork.com. STEVEFORNEWYORK.
And that's your website. It gives them a little bit more details about yourself.
Right. Well, I didn't update my platform on it. One of the main feedbacks I'm getting is, what does this guy stand for? Right. What are my issues? What are my platform? So I just want to point out one of my main issues and platforms is, of course, fighting corruption, but it's not going to be number one, right? Number one right now, my main concern is people recovering from the coronavirus. And so UBI is something that I believe in.
Universal Basic Income.
Right.
Okay.
It's something that I'm going to be pushing.
Okay.
I want to put money in people's pockets so they can help recover from it. Maybe perhaps a rent freeze, right? And for the landlords, they would get like a grant or a loan.
So everybody gets paid.
Right. So everybody gets paid. Everybody wins.
Who pays for this though?
Well, the loan will be a zero interest loan, right? And then they'll pay it back themselves.
So the renters will be taking the loans?
No, not the renters, the landlords.
The landlords.
And then the renters will, get rent freeze.
I see.
Right.
I see.
And UBI and stuff like that. And we can always, they'll find the money. Mm-hmm. These politicians, if they really want to find the money, if the state and city really want to find the money, they have a way to find the money. And I believe the city council is already like pushing for some kind of like UBI program and stuff like that. So it's catching on.
Do you need to fall under a certain income bracket to be eligible for it, or is this for everybody?
The UBI will be for everybody over a certain age, I guess 19 or something like that. I got to find the age. Right. We got to do the math numbers and stuff like that. So it'll be over a certain age. And then also for, they also have a additional UBI for each child or whatever that you have.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. That's a great idea. That's a fantastic. I'm with that because I'm planning on having another child. Last thing I do want to touch on before we let you go.
Yeah.
Andrew Yang. Thoughts on him? You think he'll be a mayor coming up for New York City?
Oh man, that's another story, bro.
Is that long? Can we get a brief?
Okay, so Andrew Yang endorsed Ron Kim.
Did he?
But here's the thing, though. As you might know, William Lex Ham is from Andrew Yang's LA team, right? Sorry, SoCal team. Right? Fulton Hood is New York Yang Gang, right? And both of them are helping me with my campaign. Most of the Yang Gang people seen what happened during my election, and they also see me take the Humanity Forward pledge way before Ron, throughout the whole thing. I took the pledge because I took the pledge. Mm-hmm. I didn't take the pledge for endorsement. So that's why I didn't bother asking.
You took it because you thought it was the right thing to do.
Right. Because what he was writing, I was like, look, that's great. This is exactly what I think. I don't follow the far right. I don't follow the far left. I don't care. If the idea works, I'll work with anybody.
Right.
Right. If it makes sense and it's good for the people, that's what I want to push. So UBI, it comes from the far left. Okay. So what? It works though. Mm-hmm. We need that.
You think it makes it I agree. I think sometimes ideas from the right makes a lot of sense. Sometimes ideas on the left makes a lot of sense.
Like think about it.
And it's not like a crazy idea. It's been tested.
It's not a crazy idea.
It's been
but
tested.
Think about it. Trump even pushed the UBI. Right. A one-time UBI. So come on.
I think a lot of politicians are now kind of advocating for it.
Right.
Actually,
because
really
they know it works.
They
can't deny it no more. So that's a great victory for Yang. But the thing is that he was approached by somebody he trusted, and they said to endorse Ron Kim. I don't know how they got endorsement, but that's how they got it. After he got that endorsement, his wife tweeted out, Andrew called, he wants his hat back on Twitter.
Whose wife?
Ron Kim.
Wait, Andrew called
and said that he wants his hat back because they got the endorsement from Andrew Yang. And on Twitter, people who follow Yang had that blue hat, like icon next to the name. So on my Twitter name, I have the blue icon. I put, Humanity Forward, whatever hashtag, whatever, and stuff like, And she tweeted out and tagged me. Andrew called. He wants his hat back.
Got you.
Like he's not
So
with
they
you.
only got the endorsement just to throw in my face.
Yeah. He's not with
You know what I
you.
mean?
He's with us.
Right. So did he take the Humanity Forward pledge? I guess he did, whatever. But did he promote it? Like, did he leave it on his profile picture and stuff like that? No. Did he push for UBI even after? No. Nothing. Didn't push for any of the things. Right. And
So why do you think Andrew Yang's endorsing him then?
Will actually reached out to him
Directly.
To Andrew Yang?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Yang, Andrew responded and said somebody he trusted recommended him, and he made that decision. If he was to know, if he knew about me and him and what was going on, he would have took a neutral stance. Right?
Yeah, because Andrew Yang, I mean, I love a lot of the things he says.
I do too.
It's-
I was hoping he
great.
became president, man. Like, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, shit. And not just because he's Asian, not because he looks like it's just.
No, what he
literally-
says makes sense.
We should put someone smart up there.
Right. But I don't think he's running for mayor.
Yeah, I heard rumors swirling, and then I heard it the
Yeah.
other way. Like, nah,
It's something. I think he's gonna plan on running for something higher office or something. Maybe he'll wait for 2024 or something. I don't know. Maybe
take another stab at
maybe
president
Yeah, or maybe he'll run for governor or something like that. Or
of New York,
Yeah, or
taking Cuomo's spot.
maybe. Who knows? Nobody
Yeah.
knows. Nobody knows but him. Even Will and them don't know. They just know that he's gonna make a higher move, something like that.
Interesting stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you for coming on, Steve. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
You are one hell of a person, man. Wow, you have a high tolerance for shit.
Yeah,
He's a
it gets,
superhero, bro.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it gets really lonely until other people that also went through the same thing start reaching out to you,
Yeah.
and then you realize I'm not alone.
Of
And
course, yeah.
that's if I was to say one thing to other whistleblowers out there, what would be my one message is you are not alone.
Yeah.
We are all here for you. Other whistleblowers, we're here for you. We got your back, and just know that you are not alone, because that's a big feeling. Nobody understands what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And everybody's against me. There's nobody to trust. There's nobody to turn to. It's not true. You could trust us, so you're not alone.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, man. I see you boots to the ground. You're doing everything for the Asian community, and I see it. I'm there. I'm out there.
He's and it's not just the Asian community. He's
Yes.
fighting in the black community.
Yes, true.
A backlash for that.
And here's the thing, like, you don't go out there for photo ops.
Not taking attention. You're taking the photos for people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually
is-
decided not to do my live streams and stuff. Like, people were like, "Oh, you should do your live streams," and I was like, "Nah, I don't want it to be about that. I don't want people to have that image of, hey, he's only doing that for his live streams and stuff like that. Or he's only out there for the photo ops."
Yeah.
But I'm out there for the movement, right?
It's tough, because people want to shame you sometimes, or,
Right.
or people are very cynical.
Right. But you know what I realized is that I have to start documenting, because
You do.
seeing is believing.
Yeah.
So I have to start documenting, and even though I'm trying not to do it for the photo op and stuff like that, I got it, right?
You have to document. I don't think there's any shame in that. I mean, because you are there. If you're putting in the fight, then you're the voice of leadership.
Right.
Then people want to look to you. They want to hear what you have to say.
Right,
They want to hear your voice. They want to hear you empower everyone and
Yeah.
your energy resonating
But
through
here-
everyone's soul.
But here's the thing, though. I don't want to speak and then it gets tainted. Like even with China Mac and Will, like when they got tainted, they got attacked, by Ron Kim's people, and they got attacked for it, and I feel bad because those are my friends. Like, if it's a straight up election, right? We're heads up. It's just me and Ron. Bro, I signed up for this job. Come and attack me. It's between me and you. It's not between my friends or my family. Why are you attacking my friends and family? Because you can't find anything on me, so you have to go attack my friends and family. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing the work. They're doing what you guys are talking about. They're out there putting
boots to
the
the
actual
ground,
work.
yeah.
Right. They're out there,
With the
boots to the
people.
ground. They're in the streets doing it. They're not just talking about it online. They're just keyboard politicians behind the freaking keyboard and just tweeting stuff out every day and doing this, doing that. We're boots to the ground. We're in the ground. I'm in the street. I'm not documenting it. That's why I fell off of my Facebook, my social media for like a month or whatever, because I was not documenting. I was like, you know what? Great, election is over. I don't have to document no more. I don't have to prove anybody. But people know, like you guys. I seen you guys out there. You guys see me out there. Other people see me out there. When I put that live video up, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know who you were. I didn't know what you were about. Oh, you know, I always seen you with so and so. I always see you at the march.
Right.
But now I know, you know, so forth and so on."
I can completely agree with you there and empathize, because I do see a lot of other people screaming Asians, this and that, and we need to speak up. We need to, and they're saying all the right things. And then I'm going, hey, China Mac and these guys got this thing going on. Maybe shout them out.
Right.
And Will, maybe shout them out.
No, instead they were attacking them.
Not even attacking them. They were making the videos. They weren't even at the protests.
Right.
And then they are behaving like they were.
Wow, really?
By covering it, but they weren't even at the protest. And it to me, and then people are like, "Oh, you guys are awesome," and I'm going, you know, I can't shame them. I don't want to shame them because at the same time, they're spreading the message, and I certainly appreciate that. But it's at the same time, I don't like fake shit.
Yeah,
it bothers me, and it really does. But I get the game. I get the whole social media bullshit, and they're covering this like they were there, and they couldn't even say anyone's name.
Right.
I'm like, dude, you're talking about this rally, dude. Right. Talk about the organizers then. Right. Give them. Bring some focus to them.
Give them the shine, because they need to spread that message, because they're in the front lines. Right. They're showing their faces.
Right. So to me, that part of me just makes me like not that I want to shame them for that, because that's not cool either. At least they're speaking up about it. But don't just do it for the clicks and just say you wasn't there.
Right. But get this. Not only are they doing that, they're taking it to the next level where they're gaslighting them for doing it.
You know, and that's us fighting each other.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm always careful of people when they're trying to make me fight my own people.
Right. It's crabs in a barrel mentality.
Yeah.
So for us,
we have to be careful of that.
Right, for us people that out there every day, for us is a movement. For these politicians, it's just a moment. It's their election moment. It's their photo op moment.
Damn, that's a fucking bar right there, bro. Drop that mic.
Yeah, and
goddamn.
You know, for us, it's a movement because we're out there every day. We don't care if it's election time or whatever. We're there until the problem is solved, until they fix the system. But these politicians are just there to take the photo op, right? They'll do a speech real quick. Thank you, my people. Blah blah blah. I'm running for blah blah blah, and they disappear.
They only look at the cover of the book.
Right.
People don't go inside the pages.
Right, but people, the real people know. For the most
part.
The people that are out there know.
But the majority of people look at the headlines.
Right.
I sometimes am one of them. I can't get into every single freaking story.
Right.
There's just so much information.
So if you're going to browse, if you want to read one headline is, for the people, it's a movement. For politicians, it's just a moment.
All right, Steve. Thank you for coming by.
Yep. Such a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Pleasure's all mine.
You really definitely fucked up my innocence.
I took your virginity.
You man.
How about he sort of like
my innocence.
He just like matrixed you. He's just like
he matrixed me.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm still mind blown.
But sometimes ignorance is bliss, man.
And I grew up very hard too.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
But I never looked at police officers or anything of that world like that, because it's not my space.
Right.
It's not anywhere that I get involved.
You want to get
with.
mind blown on something very recent? So that Asian hate crime task force.
Right.
I did some research on it. I called people that I recognize in the picture that are part of the task force. They said that it's not a real thing.
It's a PR thing.
It's they announced it to quiet the protests
because I saw it was a bunch of Asian police officers
to do us
on stage.
Bone. So all those officers are volunteered. They're currently still at their current command.
It's not really an allocation
it's
of
not
resources.
But it went out to all the news outlets. It went out to all these social media publications.
It's not a real unit. There's no office. They don't have an office. Right. They don't have those cops are not assigned to that unit. They're assigned to their regular whatever command they're at. Like let's say one of them is at 109 Detective Bureau, or one of them is at 7th Precinct Detective Bureau, or something like that. They still work there.
Right.
But then if a case pops up, they'll ask for their assistance on the case.
Is that usually how it works, or no?
No,
They get
no.
when an official task force is put together.
No.
I mean, because again, forgive me for my ignorance because I don't know shit about this. But when they put a task force together, they give them an actual office,
Yes.
a whole
Yes, a whole unit, a budget, everything.
So there's no
But-
real actual funding going towards this,
No.
which is
No,
resources
it's all
that we
volunteered.
need.
That's why it's all volunteered.
That's
No.
that's bullshit.
And on top of that, they didn't assign the grandma case to them yet. So I asked them, who decides on what cases are hate crimes assigned to you guys, and who decides, they're not? And he goes, the regular hate crime task force, right? So we have to encourage our people to start reaching out and contacting the NYPD or politicians or whatever. And when they file the report and say, I want the Asian hate crime task force to take care of this case. I won't speak to anyone else. I only trust them. I want to do it with them. This way we create a caseload.
people can do that.
Right. We do a caseload. We create a caseload for the Asian task force, right? And then when they get this caseload, the NYPD will realize, okay, we have to create an office because they're so backloaded, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, they're backlogged. They
Right.
have a
so
ton of
backlogged
shit.
in cases and stuff. And now after they do that, we have to pressure them as the people protesting. We have to be out there, the activists. We have to be out there and say, hey, what's the status on these cases? Where's the results on these cases? Are you actually doing anything with these cases? Let us know, right? And then we have to pressure them. And when we pressure them,
That's when shit happens.
that's when shit happens. They're like, all right, put these people in, assign them full time to the Asian task force, boom. And that's when the unit gets created, and so forth and so on. And then we have to just keep encouraging Asians to keep reporting it.
And not just Asians, man. Anyone that's that just stands for justice, man. I mean,
I'm saying like legit cases, like
Yeah.
like the Chinese food guy that's always getting robbed or whatever. you
right?
know?
But we need other people to stand up. Like we need to stand together.
Yeah,
I know what you
definitely.
mean, but the Chinese food guy is not going to go out by himself.
No,
you know that.
You
Like,
have,
they're just.
we have to create,
We need to create a space for them.
Yeah, we need to create a space
as a community.
Or if
Everybody.
anything, you just reach out, and when I get the info, I'll put up the info on my website and stuff like that, so you guys keep
Yeah.
people contacted and stuff. So
All right. One more time. How can they get to? Well, number one, your Instagram. They could get to it. We're gonna leave
Yeah.
links
So
down in the description.
SteveFromNewYork.com. All my social media links on the top right hand corner.
Okay. If you guys are listening to the podcast and you're not watching this, you can go to our YouTube channel, and it's a Lucky Boys podcast, and you can find one of the video clips with Steve in it, and we will have on every single one of the clips that has Steve in it, we'll
have the contact links
We'll have
there.
his contact links there in case you guys want to reach out to him, or just learn more about him to see if he's someone you want to stand behind or beside.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, that is it for this one. You took the record. This is the longest one we had.
This is the longest one.
This is, but yeah, we
Nice.
could combine two of the longest
I
ones
think
we
it's
had
5
prior.
hours.
Nice.
Anyway, thank you, Steve. I know you got bills to pay and
Yeah.
places to go. So, Lucky Boys,
Out.